Hey, what's up, everybody? It's your boy Tez, and thank you guys for listening to this episode of the Intro Podcast. This is actually a segment that we are adding, but because we haven't done a full show just yet, I don't want to, teach y'all because this is a dope segment from a dope person. You feel me? A lot of things have changed, but some things still remain the same. One thing that will always remain the same is the fact that I appreciate you guys for being a part of the life of the podcast, but even those that are a part of my life in general, because you guys are with me through my ups, my downs, my relationships, my family, like everything that goes on. So I appreciate you guys for doing so. There's so many things that I can talk about right now that's going to be featured on an upcoming episode of the Intro Podcast, but I don't want to take away from what's about to be played right now. Shout out to Ebony, the butterfly goddess, who has a segment on the show now. I'm excited for what she's going to bring to us, but let me stop talking and do this. Hey, butterfly, take it away.
All right, beloveds, this is your girl, Lady E, the butterfly goddess. Today is my first segment. I am happy to be here. And like I said, we want to talk about healing in this space. Now, I just want to say, fellas, you can come on in here too, but this space is going to be heavily geared towards my ladies. So if you don't want to hear it, go ahead and slide to the left. But if you do, stay on in because I'm going to be giving some good tips on how to start your healing process, okay? And again, this is the first segment, so we don't want to go too heavy. Just want to be pretty light today. And I'm going to give you these first 5 steps to start your healing journey. Now, I don't know if you're just jumping on your healing journey, if you've already been in your journey for a minute, or maybe you feel like you're coming to the end of this phase. I don't really know. But here's some good tips for you. I got 5 of them. Let's go. Number 1, we've got forgiveness. And when I talk about forgiveness, I'm talking about making peace with yourself, forgiving the mistakes that you have made, as well as those of others. Now, y'all, forgiveness is one of those things that is pretty hard for everyone, to be honest with you, right? To be forgiving, you also have to humble yourself. Like, I don't think most people really think about that. When you apologize to someone, right, you have to humble yourself. You have to really kind of come down and say, I'm sorry, I messed up. But y'all, to forgive, it literally takes the same thing. You have to stop yourself. You have to come out of self and say, okay, 1, to forgive someone else. I'm coming out of self and I'm saying, all right, whatever you did to me, whatever transgression it was, whatever thing you said, whatever thing, however you hurt me, whatever you might have done, I forgive you. Now, I'm not going to forget it. Now, let's talk about that. I'm not going to forget that thing. Because in forgetting that thing, I might allow you to do that thing again. And I don't want to feel that hurt. But to forgive you, though, I step out of myself and I say, this person is a human just like me. They make mistakes just like me. So maybe I can give them some grace. All right? Now, the caveat to that is also we must learn to forgive ourselves. We are also imperfect beings. I like to use the term perfectly imperfect. I am imperfect in all of my ways, yet I am perfect exactly the way my Creator made me. Somebody say amen. But forgiving yourself and finding peace within yourself and the mistakes that you have made, the missteps that you have made is crucial. It is so important because if you don't start here, if you don't learn to forgive you, and if you don't learn to be able to say, I do not have control over everything in my life. Y'all, control is an illusion. We think that we control things. Now, to a certain degree, yes, the law of attraction and positive thoughts and, the will of God, all of that plays into it. But at the end of the day, we do not have control. So the mistakes that we make or the things that were transgressed against us are not always our fault. And once we learn that and we can forgive ourselves, we can start with a clean slate. All right? Number 2 is self-compassion. That really kind of falls into that forgiveness thing. Self-compassion is being honest with yourself and, again, giving grace. Like, not overthinking. Y'all, I'm a total overthinker, okay? So when you mess up, you cannot rehearse that thing over and over and over again. You will drive yourself crazy because you will basically end up doing that thing again, trying so hard not to do it again. And you will throw yourself into a depression trying to think about the fact that you even did that thing. Like, here, let me give you an example. At one point in time, I did something that was like catastrophic, okay? At least to me, in my mind, right? Like, I took something that I was not supposed to take, okay? Now, in that moment, it felt like, oh, okay, I did something, I got away with it, right? But eventually the guilt of that thing began to eat me up, right? And so even after I was caught, things were taken care of, whatever, the guilt of that still bothered me. And so I beat myself up so bad saying, how could you do this? You were so stupid. That was so dumb. This person will never look at you the same anymore. You'll never be able to be in this space the same anymore. You can't even look at yourself anymore the same anymore. I was so hard on myself. I didn't give myself grace. I didn't give myself compassion. So I sat there and I overthunk it. And I didn't think that. So number 2 is we have to have self-compassion, all right? And that's being honest with yourself and giving grace to yourself, right? That's that not overthinking. That's that forgiving yourself of mistakes, all right? We all make mistakes, y'all. Nobody's perfect. We definitely are not perfect. I know I'm not perfect. I like to use the term, I am perfectly imperfect, okay? And even like when I pray with my kids, one of the things that we say in our prayer, like it's one of the staples, is I am perfect, or you are perfect just the way God made you, right? So I'm gonna mess up because I don't know it all. And I have to walk this thing called life out, right? And so that means I'm gonna mess up. I'm gonna make mistakes. I'm gonna forget some things. I'm gonna do some things incorrectly. I'm gonna even hear people tell me how to do things, and I'm not gonna take their advice. I'm gonna mess it up royally. But I have to learn to forgive myself, and I have to learn to give myself grace in that, right? There's also a saying, we don't take L's, we take lessons, right? And so take the lesson in knowing, like, I'm walking in my truth in forgiving myself. I'm walking in my truth in having compassion for me. And in turn, I'm going to be able to have compassion for others even more, because you cannot give to someone else what you haven't even given to yourself. Because at the end of the day, me, I'm the most important thing, right? And so I've got to fill up my cup. I've got to fill up my reservoir, because from an empty reservoir, from an empty cup, I cannot pour. So who am I pouring into? And ultimately, that's the goal here, is in life, is to be with people and to pour into others as they pour into you. Iron sharpens iron, right? So number 3 is positive self-talk. That will be those affirmations. Like, what do you tell yourself? When you look in the mirror, what do you see? Who do you see? What is the reflection? Like, do you tell yourself, I am beautiful, I am loved, I am joy, I am peace, I am enough, right? Do you tell yourself those things, or are you one of those people who kind of sit in the monotony and the drama of the everyday? Do you hear other people's words before your own? And even if you do hear other people's words, what do you do when you hear them? When you hear that mother that said you would never be anything, what do you do with those words? When you hear that father that says you suck, what do you do with that? That's in those moments where you have to affirm yourself. You have to positively self-talk, because that's going to help your healing. The more you hear it, the more you will begin to believe it. Just as those negative things were spoken to you, just as those negative things were drilled into your mind, the more you drill the positive, it'll begin to draw that negative out, right? You also have to have gratitude. Gratitude means walking in what you have and being grateful for it, right? So I am grateful for my life. When I say I wake up every morning just grateful that I could breathe, I don't do that on my own. Last I checked, my brain does that, and I have no control over that. Okay? I don't control my job. They could decide to let me go at any minute, but grace keeps me there. I am grateful for my limbs, the fact that I'm able to walk and talk, have the faculties of my own mind, self-gratitude, just being grateful for the small things. That in itself is healing. It gives power. It gives power to the positive and helps to kind of extinguish the negative, right? If I'm grateful for the fact that I have a house to live in, then I can't be ungrateful about the fact that it's not $1 million home, right? So putting things into perspective, mindset, right? And then number 5, last but not least, is mindfulness. Having awareness of self and your surroundings. And when I think of that again, I think of my whole self. Like, who am I? Who am I truly? And am I walking in my truth? Like, at some point, we have to take off the mask. We have to let go of the facade. We have to determine that whatever other people think is not your business. Okay? Whatever they think about you, that ain't your business. What you think about you is what's important, right? What I feel about me. And I love me. For a long time, I did, and then I didn't. Because negative words got in there and they began to infiltrate what I thought I was. But then I became self-aware, right? And becoming self-aware also helps you to look at your surroundings. You will learn that you will become more observing, okay? Start to become an observer. Become a listener and less of a talker, less of a doer. Just watch. Because when you watch, you will begin to see, 1, the things that you value, and 2, the things and the people, or the people who value you, okay? This is crucial to your healing, because the people who you have in your circle, those whom you have around you, are crucial. So you got to watch your surroundings. You have to watch what people say, not only what they say to you and about you, but what they say to themselves and about themselves. You also must monitor what they say to others about themselves and what they say to you about others. Because that will help you determine who is allowed to be in that circle, who's going to be in your healing area. Because I'm just going to tell you, healing is very, for the lack of a better word, traumatic. It will take you to a space of lots of privacy, lots of loneliness, lots of quietness. But you have a lot of time to meditate and a lot of time to sit with self. And the benefits of that actually, again, without the ups and downs, right? It's help in treating your childhood and your past traumas. A lot of things that we go through, a lot of the mannerisms, a lot of the habits that we have now are due to our past. And treating those traumas, treating that childhood helps to uproot whatever it is that keeps you in the space that you're in now, the unhealed version of you, right? It also helps you to accept the past. Once you accept that past, then you can accept your present, because they're directly aligned. They're directly connected, right? If I experienced abuse in my past, then it's almost evident that I'm going to take on some type of abusive traits or characteristics. Either I'm going to become the abuser or I'm going to become the overly abused. I'm going to be the person who retreats. And so I have to be able to accept my past in order to know my present and know where I'm going in it and how to walk out in it and still live in my truth, right? Healing also relieves anxiety and stress you'll find that you have much more peace once you begin to heal. Because again, some of those things that used to trigger you before don't trigger you anymore, or they may trigger you, but now you found a way to deal with those triggers. So it's less stressful and it's less anxiety, because I don't have to be anxious about it. I already know it's coming and I know how to handle this issue. Again, we don't take L's, we take lessons. So I've seen this before. What do I do with it now? It also helps you to identify your own strengths and weaknesses. In healing, I learned that I am very strong at being there for other people. But I also learned that I was very weak in showing up for myself. I could go and give the shirt off my back to the next person, but if I needed something, I was hesitant. I felt guilt. I felt shame for needing something for myself. That was directly related to my childhood and my past. Not that my parents, my grandparents were not great people, but because of the things that I was taught, I was turned into a people pleaser. And becoming a people pleaser meant that, again, one of my strengths was going to be exhortation, boosting you, making sure that you were good, coming there and being there for you. I was going to be your ear. If you needed a sounding board, I was going to be your shoulder to cry on. Whatever it was, I was going to come. I was going to take care of you, your kids, your family, whatever. But for myself, I wasn't able to show up. Interesting, huh? And last but not least, it just kind of makes you more productive. Honestly, it actually gives you an excitement to walk out your daily life, because now you're not sitting in the misery of whatever traumas you were sitting in. Now you are sitting in a more healed version of you. And I want to give a disclaimer that healing never stops. Okay, there is no such thing as healed unless you are a scar. All right, and we are not scars, we are people. So with that being said, healing is an ongoing effort. You truly do have to put time into it. You have to sit with yourself. Like I said in the beginning, you have to meditate. You have to have space where it's just you. And I just want to throw in that you cannot heal in the space where you were broken. I'm going to repeat that one more time because I feel like somebody needs to hear that again. You cannot heal in the space where you were broken. Those triggers will ever be present. And if they are constantly in your face, you cannot move forward. Again, this space is going to be all about love and light and healing and growth, because at the end of the day, I want us all to grow. I want us all to fly. I want us to come out of this space of fight and flight. I feel like every one of us, majority of us, I'm not looking at statistics. I just want you to know. So I'm pulling out, and I want to say at least 80% of us I know are in survival mode. And at some point, we've got to come out of survival mode. And that is going to take the healing. So if you are ready for your healing and you want to jump in here and learn about how to heal and grow with me, we're going to laugh, we're going to cry, we're going to throw temper tantrums, we're going to have some forums, we're going to have some girlfriends on the show. I might even call some of you guys up, but we're definitely going to be in a space where we are going to heal and grow together. I just want you to know that I love you. I truly, truly do. Like, that is not a lie. When I say I love you, I mean I love you. I don't ever take that lightly. So I want to say that I love you. I am rooting for you, even if no one else that you know is rooting for you. And I know that whatever is going to come out of this segment It's going to be just absolutely amazing. I look forward to our growth together, and I look forward to us flying butterflies. So, wings up, monarchs. Let's get in here on our journey and let's soar. I love you.